His eyes, they were not normal. Dark, hollow, empty, like he had just done something very terrible. I've covered some of the worst criminals on this channel, but nothing prepares you for when the eerie, unsettling feeling of true crime enters your real life and lands right in your lap. And not once, but twice in 48 hours. Not long ago, I posted a video about having to take a break and almost quitting. I had the burnout, and it just it was just something that I had to step away in order to move forward. If you haven't seen it, I'll have it below or at the end of this video. But in just 2 days, my son and I experienced two unsettling, gut-wrenching moments that reminded me why we are all drawn to true crime in the first place. Because awareness can be the difference between safety and danger. And the first incident is what I call the bookstore bathroom creeper. And I was at a store with my son at first. We were getting some supplements, and we left. And of course, as many of you can relate, you get in the car and you hear, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom. So it's like, of course you do, right? So I was driving and I saw, okay, I'm just going to go into the bookstore. That's pretty quiet there, he'll feel comfortable, whatever. So I go into the store, my son goes to the bathroom, and I kind of stay nearby because I don't like to be too far away from him when he's going into the bathroom by himself. And I am thinking to myself, well, it's taking him an awful long time. Like, why is it taking him so long? Maybe he has to do some other things, like he has to go to the bathroom on a deeper level. Let's just say I just give him a few more minutes. But I saw then a man walking out. And in that moment, the sense of unease was unbelievable. I've never really experienced this, but my stomach dropped. And it was one of those feelings that it kind of punches you right in the gut, the kind that you do not ignore. And he walked by me, something in my gut dropped, and I ran to the door, to the bathroom, and called out my son's name and asked if he was okay. So I asked my son, like, how come it took you so long? And he told me that he stayed inside the bathroom stall because he felt something was off. And when he described what the man was doing, I knew he was right and my gut was right. So he proceeded to tell me that when he went into the bathroom, he saw this guy at the sink and his jacket was on the floor of the bathroom. And my son went into the stall, but then he had that creepy feeling, so he locked himself in the stall. But he said he was watching him through the little, the little lock hole or the side, one of the two. He was watching him, and he said the guy would wash his hands, look back at the stall, and dry his hands, and then go back and wash his hands and dry his hands and look back at my son. So my son waited till this guy finally left, and then he came out. And so trusting your instincts isn't paranoia, it's protection. And that was the conversation I had with my son about being born with our own personal alarm system and to never ignore it. I praised him for what he did, knowing that he was not safe. We talked about having also, a coded word if something's not right, or if when he goes into a situation like that, to come back out. But you never know until you get into that situation, right? So many parents do not think of a bathroom as being anything, of a big deal, whether it's in a mall or, a place like a bookstore, but that is the place you need to pay attention to sometimes the most. You just never know. And I never thought in this bookstore that there'd ever be some creepy guy. I mean, it happens, right? It's kind of silly not to think about it, but at the same time, you kind of just think, oh, that's a safe place. I've been there several times, whatever. So I talked to the manager. I said, something's not right. Explained the description of the guy to the manager and just made sure to report whatever I needed to. I don't know if it was innocent or not innocent. Maybe he was homeless and he was just washing up. Who knows? But my gut told me something different, and my son confirmed it without me telling him. It spooked my son enough that we we double check now when we're out. So 2 days later, I was working on my laptop in a coffee shop. I was working on my videos for the channel, and I had a phone call. So I was talking to my niece on the phone, and I turned and I kind of noticed a guy walk in. He kind of seemed a little bit odd. He sat down, but I didn't pay too much attention at that point. I was talking to my niece on the phone, and then all of a sudden, I saw this guy kind of pointing his phone at me, and he was acting very odd. And I said to my niece, I think this guy is recording me. Wait a minute, is he recording? No, he's not recording me. No, he can't be. During this, I'm looking up at him. He's not very far from me. And I see him like hitting the side of the phone and like kind of screenshotting, videoing. At this point, a girl came behind him just to come up and order at the coffee shop, and he got really spooked, and he was moving weird, like is somebody seeing what I have on here? It was almost like he got caught watching, some stuff he shouldn't be in a coffee shop. It was weird. And then I knew this is not good. Now, I've obviously been in front of cameras before, but this was different. And it wasn't just his actions, it was his eyes. I've seen those eyes before in cases I've covered, the Letitia Stout case, the Chris Watts case, the kind of eyes that they send that chill down your spine, and the back of your hairs, the hairs on the back of your neck go up. The kind of eyes that just send a chill straight down your spine. And it still haunts me whenever I think about them. Remember when Letitia was first arrested in the Gannon Stout case? She was seen in court, and she just looked like these crazy, empty, hollow black eyes. That's what this guy looked like. And once I knew he was recording me, I just, everything in me stopped. Here's a picture of him, although I had to cover up part of his face, but this was him. And notice how he was pointing his phone towards me, which the cops have confirmed that was odd. And just look at the blackness in his eyes. It creeps me the heck out. Now, why I have that picture is because at the very end, I was trying to do fast thinking while trying to think of all these other things, like, why is he recording me? And I was able to grab my phone and take a picture of him. Now, he waited for food to come and a drink or whatever it was, and he left. And then I jumped out of my seat, and I was visibly upset. Two guys who were sitting near the window when I was looking out to see what this guy was driving, hopefully getting a license plate number, they asked if I was okay. And I said, no, I'm not okay. And I told them what happened. They said, yeah, that guy was super creepy. And so I jumped up and asked the owners, have you seen this guy before? That kind of thing. But as I was talking to these two guys, they said, oh, shoot, that's too bad. Hey, now you have to worry about this. I said, what are you talking about now? I've been having to do this for 47 years of my life, having to look over your shoulder, right? Because, I'm in general, and I'm not that big. I'm 5 feet tall and 110 pounds, and so I'm always being aware, especially because I do this channel. And everybody who watches true crime, I'm sure you can agree that you have a heightened sense of awareness. And I know the difference between a guy just looking and a guy taking videos. Like, this wasn't even a look, it wasn't even a picture. This guy was straight up recording me, wouldn't even look up. And the way he was holding, it was just very, very, very unsettling. So I decided to go report him. And I went to the police station. I said, listen, there's something that really happened that is very odd, and I'm very unsettled about it. I don't like it. And the girl behind the desk takes my info and then looks at the picture that I showed to her, and she said, oh, my dear. She's like, I can't even look at that. I can't even look at the picture. I said, I know, right? And I am shaking. That's just, it's just to my core, there was something wrong. She says, I've been wondering what's in the water because there's been all kinds of reports lately. So I reported him, and that was a Friday, I believe. And Saturday went by, Friday went by, Friday night went by, Saturday night went by. I didn't hear anything about this dude. They didn't call me back, nothing. So, but by Saturday morning, which was not even 24 hours later, I'm freaking out because I'm thinking, does this guy know me? Did he see me on the channel? Has he been stalking me? Like, what is going on? And so I I took a closer look the at the photo and saw that there was a hat he was wearing, and that actually helped me find him. Although I'm not showing you that because we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But I did find out his name, who his name is, and his situation and all that, and I hand delivered it pretty much to the police, to the authorities. I did not contact him. I sent the information to the authorities. This is who I found out who he is. Please follow up. Still no follow up. A couple days later, by Monday, I think it was Monday, Sunday or Monday, I was mad. I was super mad. It's like, how do you guys not take this seriously? But of course, I get it. There's other things that the police are worried about. Technically, he didn't do anything illegal. However, here's where it gets really bad. One of the officers said, I'm going on vacation, so I'm passing it to somebody else, but I agree this is very weird and it's concerning. The other officer that picks it up is like, don't worry, Linda. We're just a phone call away. I'll talk to this guy, we'll see and we'll get to the bottom of it. So I call him because I haven't heard back. And obviously I was afraid because I'm wondering, does this guy know me? I'm worrying about what he wanted, but this was intentional. It wasn't just a picture. He recorded me probably for like 10 minutes. I totally froze. Part of me wondered, how can I be upset when I record myself and put myself on the internet all the time? But the difference is this wasn't my decision. It was his. And I'd be willing to bet that this guy has way more on his phone. That's how sure I am. Now, reporting him wasn't just about myself, okay? It was everyone after me and before me. And so when I didn't get the phone call back from the officer. I phoned back. It's like, why haven't I heard from you guys? Have you even, like, I hand delivered who this dude is. Have you talked to him? And he says, yeah, I talked to him. He simply was just buying a coffee and waiting for his food for his wife and children. I said, oh, you talked to him in person? Because what I said to the cops was, I want that video off of his phone. I want it off. And he said, he was skirting around the issue. I said, you didn't answer my question. I asked you, did you talk to him in person? Well, we phoned him. We phoned him. Oh, and let me guess, he told you he wasn't doing anything wrong? And the cop's like, well, yeah, Linda, I can't go chasing people's phones. I said, you know what's really sad? I said, my intuition's not wrong about this guy. And I didn't even tell him about my crime channel on that because then he's going to think, oh, here we go, right? Didn't say anything. I just said, you know what? This guy shouldn't have done what he did. And he knows it's wrong. And of course he's going to tell you. I said, if someone stole something out of my backyard, do you think he's going to admit that he stole something from the backyard? No. If a guy murdered somebody, he's not going to be like, yeah, I did it. I said, you could have had the opportunity to ask him to show the phone. And if he said yes, great. If he didn't, then great. But at least if he showed it, you'd even see some other stuff that could have been questionable. This man has 2 children who are girls. Enough said. And so after my little sleuthing, I saw, and this is the biggest thing for me, is he changed his profile picture after being contacted by the cops. And he had never, I think it was like 5 or 10 years since he even changed anything on his Facebook page, but he changed it to his wife and children. That is like a Letitia move if I've ever seen one. I'm telling you that this man has something more going on, and his eyes, he did something wrong. And when you have daughters, if you guys want to speak up and let me know, it's very rare that you're going to have a father who's going to be recording a woman like that, unless he's a creep, of course, as we know. Like, I'm not exempting everybody, but I just knew something was wrong. So that's the biggest thing. Interestingly, I had a phone call from my sister. This is just the other day, and she owns a business, and she said, There was an employee of ours that was recording a girl, and the girl phoned and complained. And the guy lied about what he did, and they went back on the cameras, and this guy legit was recording her. And he was like a 25-year-old guy. And the 25-year-old got fired right away. My sister said it reminded me so much of you, and not that that's why they fired him. They did the right thing, but they fired him saying, you're at your place of employment. You can't be doing this. You can't be recording a girl or anybody, making them feel uh, uncomfortable. And what are you doing? Like, why are you recording her, kind of thing, right? So he's like, well, I didn't think anything was wrong. Well, that's half the problem. You don't even think this is wrong. So let me ask you, have you ever had a moment where your gut screamed at you to pay attention, where danger felt like just a little too close? Let me know in the comments, because the more we share this, the more we learn from each other and each situation, uh, the more we can equip ourselves, right? Because sometimes you never know what happens until you're in that moment. Just like for me, another situation happened a year and a half ago, and I didn't know what I would do until you're in the situation. And the biggest takeaway is no one is exempt. When you hear it can happen to you, it can happen to you, and at any time. Look at my circumstances. Like I said, a year before, it happened at the grocery store. I'll put the video below or at the end here shortly. Now, I'm not fully at full speed, I guess you could say, yet back on the channel, but we have some important and powerful cases and trials coming up. And mark your calendar for April 7th. I'll be covering Lori Daybell's trial, which is going to be lasting up to 6 weeks ish. And the most important thing and the theme today is have a talk with your loved one, any loved one, about safety, no matter what age they are, and to be alert of your surroundings, truly. And if it doesn't feel right, it mostly isn't. Check here on that other video, and right here for the reason why I almost quit the channel. Be safe. See you soon.